thanks to the historic shifts in policies of the National Housing Trust, making it easier for Jamaicans to receive funding. Not to mention the record number of houses being built. Never dreamed you would own a home? No matter your circumstance, home ownership is possible for you, thanks to the government's new social housing program specially designed to meet the needs of poor Jamaicans at no cost to them. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
To fight crime and violence in your country, your government has invested over $9.7 billion into national security systems. This includes the construction and renovation of dozens of police stations, the acquisition of critical security equipment such as patrol vessels and police vehicles, the recruitment and training of more police officers, and the build-out of the Jamaica Defense Force. Your government is investing in your safety. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
More of your money is now tax-free? Know that the income tax threshold has been increased. Your government is looking after you responsibly, so our economy can do even more for you.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Are you an entrepreneur producing an excellent Jamaican product or service? Did you know you can earn hard currency and more significant returns by exporting? Contact the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce to help propel your business along the export lane.
Everything you can produce, the Jamaicans overseas want it. We're not going to get rich by just bringing down the debt. We're going to get rich by exporting a lot more. So grow exports, create job opportunities, drive economic growth through exports to make Jamaica a richer and much more prosperous country.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Jamaica is changing right before our very eyes. Across the island, billions are being invested into our road networks, from farm and community roads to major roads and highways. Dozens of communities across the length and breadth of Jamaica are receiving access to reliable potable water for the very first time. And thousands of Jamaicans have become homeowners thanks to the historic shifts in policies of the National Housing Trust, making it easier for Jamaicans to receive funding. Not to mention the record number of houses being built. Never dreamed you would own a home? No matter your circumstance, home ownership is possible for you, thanks to the government's new social housing program specially designed to meet the needs of poor Jamaicans at no cost to them. We are building Jamaica.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Me, I go show them my way of justice.
I'm abused.
I need legal advice. I don't deserve this.
The truth of the matter is, justice there for all of we. The Ministry of Justice has trained more than 5,600 persons in restorative justice practices. More than 200,000 victims have been supported by the victim services. Legal aid has reached thousands island-wide. Make we talk it out, not fight it out. Call 888 Justice today.
The following is brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with kind support of NIA and USAID.
Criminal minds think they are cunning. The major organized crime and anti-corruption agency have them running. Your friend a shout, come scam. Take time running, are we ready for the ops? Drive up on your block, step out now me block, cyber take about your laptop. Pull up every lock, no evidence to drop. We put it in a cuffs and now we have the underground. Sin you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Things say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit. From you say scam, you better look out fit. When you move corrupt, better look out fit. Things say you get wet, look out fit. Look out fit, look out fit.
The proceeding was brought to you by MOCA, the major organized crime and anti-corruption agency, with the kind support of NIA and USAID.
MOCA, MOCA.
What can a little germs do?
Pink eye running, belly even flu. Germs can make them happen to you.
Put germs on our manners with these. Cover your mouth when you cough and sneeze. Always wash your hand with water and soap. Keep dirty hands from your eyes and your nose and your mouth. You don't want to be sick, take care. Practice every day, no germs round here. A message from the Ministry of Health.
So who keeps our taxpayer money in check? Well, the PAC and PAAC help watch over the country's budget. And one might sound like it just have an extra A, but they're way different. Here's how. The PAAC and PAC are two committees that watch the money. The Public Accounts Committee reviews government projects after them close. They do a post-audit check to see what problems arose with the costs and call officials to explain decisions that cause budget mismanagement. And then they recommend corrective action, so the problem will happen from when, not happen again. But what about the money we are spending right now, the PAAC? That's how Public Administration and Appropriations Committee pretty much means your money will protect as it happen, we check. While projects go on, things are fair accurate. As government spend the nation's budget, PAAC reviews it. They examine proposals and summon officials to find problems before them don't use it. So the PAC and PAAC are two parliamentary committees that watch over the country's wallet to protect the budget and keep it in check. And you can get involved. Just visit jampja.org.
kills. Obey the speed limit. A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Ministry of Transport and Mining.
No more guarantors for student loan. Your government cares about your education, and we don't want you to ever have to worry about going to university. The Students' Loan Bureau has a loan for you, so you can focus on your future.
Motorists, as Minister of Justice, I appeal to you, obey the road code, pay your ticket on time, and only go to court if the ticket is being contested. Close to 80% of matters coming to the parish courts are for traffic breaches. Let's work together to make our roads safe and ease the burden on our courts.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, to providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock. We're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
Each year, the Jamaican Parliament approves billions in tax dollars to buy goods and services for Jamaicans. Awarding contracts to private companies to provide public goods and services is called public procurement, and it is a major hotspot for corruption. Can citizens spot the red flags in public procurement and help the government protect our taxes? Yes, they can, and here are 6 to watch for. Direct contracting. When contracts are frequently awarded to one supplier without other companies competing to offer a better price and quality, we usually end up paying more and getting less. Contract splintering. Big projects need big money and higher level approvals. But if the contract is cut up into smaller ones, it won't need external approval from offices like the Public Procurement Commission or Cabinet. This makes it easier for contracts to avoid additional scrutiny. Timing of advertisements. Contracts advertised during distracting periods like the holidays can result in less competition and a really strong advantage for the favored company. Like Christmas time, work slows down and companies are less attentive to business opportunities. Emergency contracting. Claiming emergencies allows officials to legally bypass normal procurement rules, making it easier to award contracts to favored companies. Contract timing. Contracts awarded just before or after election can be payback for campaign support and not based on what Jamaicans really need. Collusion. And what if penalties are not enforced when work is poorly done? This could be a contractor and public official working together for private benefit. And if it is, this is collusion. These flags do not prove corruption, but they trigger questions that citizens must ask. So mind your business, Jamaica. Visit the JAMP Procurement Tracker to monitor government contracts. If you spot these flags, use our ATI tool to ask questions and demand accountability.
Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It in at the table on the side or the back. You fi check out the servings, just do the maths. Not taking too much, finger below the facts. Zoom in on the nutrition facts. It in at the table on the side or the back. Take note of the sodium, the sugars and the fats. 5% or less in the on the right track. You fi zoom in on the nutrition facts. It in at the table on the side or the back. Vitamins, minerals and vitamin 2, 20% and more that good for you. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. You fi zoom in, check the nutrition facts. Less sugar, less salt intake and less fat. You fi zoom in.
A message from the Ministry of Health and Wellness, Jamaica Moves, the Heart Foundation of Jamaica, the National Health Fund, and Japan.
Cook it up and make we steam it. Fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Cook it up and make we roast it. Farm fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Grow smart at the best part. Food for thought so me have to eat smart. Easy catch, fully net. A tilapia so you don't know what's next. Cook it up and make we fry it. Fresh so me need it, tilapia a real fish. Bring home the best in freshwater fish. High content of vitamin B3, protein and potassium. Tilapia, simple, healthy, delicious.
Na. We want a piece for Jamaica. Yeah. We have to be our brother's keeper. Yeah. Jamaica live good, yeah. I make we enjoy life. know say we future bright. Jamaica live good. Come together as one and make the violence the one.
Jamaica's economy is in the best shape ever. Everybody a yard and abroad a talk about it. Your government is investing in our hospitals, parks, community clinics, roads, and water infrastructure.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
Hey, just a reminder, your mental health is just as important as your physical health. If you're feeling overwhelmed, try talking to a trusted friend or family member. You don't have to go through it alone. Sometimes sharing your feelings can make a big difference. If you need more support, don't hesitate to reach out to the Health and Wellness Ministry's Suicide Prevention Helpline at 888 New Life. That's 888-639-5433. Remember, it's okay to ask for help. Your feelings matter, and there are people ready to listen. Take care of yourself. You deserve it.
Today, we can report 2 consecutive years of reduction in major crimes and murders, with a significant reduction of almost 20% in murders for 2024.
Between January 2022 and January 2025, we have reduced murders by 51%, and January 2025 had the lowest monthly murder count since September 2014.
Our efforts have also resulted in the reduction of active gangs by 50%. We continue to increase firearm seizures, and in more communities, we are experiencing less violence. We will realize our vision of Jamaica as the place of choice to live, work, do business, raise families, and retire in peace and prosperity.
The proceeding was brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Give yourself a fighting chance. Wear an approved helmet. A message from the Road Safety Unit in the Ministry of Transport and Mining.
Most Jamaicans will tell you corruption in politics is deep-rooted, and that's just so it's said, and nothing can do about that. But actually, there is, and another 152 countries are doing it. It's called asset declaration, and it works best where citizens themselves understand it and help to ensure the law is enforced. Corruption happens when public officials abuse their power to benefit themselves, family, or associates. Jamaica's Integrity Commission Act was designed to prevent corruption, and here are 5 things you should know. 1. Under this law, every year MPs and senators must report what they earn, own, and owe, and if they don't, they'll be sanctioned. 2. Their report must include the same kind of information for their wife or husband and children. 3. If they get a gift worth more than $100,000 from anyone who's not family, they must declare it. 4. A summary of the declarations of our Prime Minister and opposition leader must be published where the public can read it. 5. Parliamentarians can now be prosecuted by the Integrity Commission. They can be fined up to $2 million or serve up to 2 years in prison if they don't file the declaration or if they give false information, and $500,000 for not filing on time or ignoring requests for information. Unfortunately, our parliamentarians made changes that prevent the public from knowing when they've broken the law or when they're being investigated. We really need to change that. Visit jampja.org to find out more about the Act and to track if your MP is obeying this law. If they're not, JAMP's MP Tracker will help you write, tweet, or call your MP. Ask them, you submit your declaration yet? The Integrity Commission clear you? Let's help the Parliament stay honest.
A message from the Jamaica Accountability Meter Portal, funded by the European Union and the Inter-American Development Bank in partnership with the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica.
Since 2016, 156,000 more Jamaicans are working. This is more than any other time in our history. Your government is caring for you.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC.
Peace begins with us. Every act of kindness, every step towards understanding brings us closer to a brighter tomorrow. Let's choose unity, compassion, and hope. Together, we can build a future where peace reigns.
Brighter tomorrow starting today.
When the storm rages and the world feels shaken, remember, our strength lies in unity. It's in coming together, sharing hope, and standing shoulder to shoulder that we find resilience. Every act of kindness, every word of encouragement builds a brighter tomorrow. We are stronger as one. Our courage, compassion, and hope will light the way forward. Together we rise. Together we rebuild, because hope is never lost when we stand united, because we are stronger together.
I wonder who that somebody be. No, sir. Let me look for my glasses. Oh, that somebody look like rice up. It's Lottie, walk on. Me glad for see you, Roy. Although things never go on for you, America, me glad say you there.
Yeah.
Lift your head high.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
And you can have a fresh start back home.
All right, Mr. D. Thanks, you hear?
Let's all work together for a fresh start back home.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Hi everyone, here are 5 benefits of being a beneficiary of the Students' Loan Bureau. 1. Benefit from our 99% approval rate. 2. Benefit from our low interest rate, so less burden when you need to repay. 3. Benefit from the fact that we require no collateral when applying. 4. We're giving you more time to focus on your studies while we focus on the financing. No need to worry about repaying while in school. Number 5. Receive a 14 months grace period after your graduation date before you enter repayment. Don't forget to follow us on all SLB platforms for more SLB info.
Good morning, everyone, viewers and listeners alike. It is February 12, 2026, and we are coming to you live from Duke Street, downtown Kingston, right across from Gordon House. And we're here for a momentous occasion. It is the State Opening of Parliament, which formally starts the parliamentary year for 2026 and 2027. It is an event steeped in history, tradition, and all the pomp and pageantry that we expect of these sorts of moments. My name is Theodore Henry. We are happy to have you from wherever you're watching, and it is an honor to guide you through the proceedings this morning alongside my co-host, Lisa.
Good morning to you. I'm Lisa Rowe, and today we will try to give you some context about the historical events you'll be seeing on your screen, the customs that have become part of our tradition, and we will do so providing you with comprehensive coverage of this monumental occasion. Of course, we are broadcasting live from the forecourt here at George William Gordon House on Duke Street in Kingston's downtown district. And as you can hear, the atmosphere is charged and ready as we all prepare to listen to the government's legislative priorities and national agenda to be read in this morning's throne speech. As is customary, we hearken back to our colonial roots, and of course this moment is characterized by pomp, pageantry, and naturally politics. Jamaicans have their eyes set on screens and their ears peaked to hear what will be announced in the throne speech. In a few moments, we'll have the grandeur of this moment all in display as the Governor General will, for a singular moment each year, address both houses of Parliament as the representative of the monarchy. Theo.
Now, you might notice that Lisa mentioned that the Governor General will be addressing both houses of Parliament. Last year, if you remember, the Governor General was unavoidably absent for this moment, and he was represented instead by the Honourable Stedman Fuller, Custos Rotolorum of Kingston. However, we welcome back our Governor General, the Most Honourable Sir Patrick Allen. That he has joined us this year. He's present this year, and he will be delivering the throne speech in person. As we look around, the Jamaica Defence Force is already in action. We see the streetliners resplendent in their #1 dress, the scarlet tunics, and they're drawn from different battalions. They are in position. They are forming the boundary of the street. With their presence, the street is inviolable and no traffic is being allowed to come through, no persons are being allowed to cross. They are quite literally forming the boundary of the street for the duration of the event, and they await the arrival of His Excellency. Guests have actually already begun to arrive, and they're eager to take their seats inside Gordon House, where they'll enjoy a commanding view from the gallery of all the events taking place inside. Not to worry, you will also share that view. In addition to the guests, we're expecting our parliamentarians, our members of the diplomatic corps, the mayors or custodies, the state officials, all will enter and take their place inside the chamber. And you should be seeing somewhere on your screen that onlookers have gathered to the north and to the south, resplendent as well in their party colors. They are waiting to cheer on their parliamentary representatives. Now, the Guard of Honor, who are distinct from the streetliners, they are specifically formed to welcome His Excellency the Governor General, and they should be marching into place briefly. They will do so in excellent precision and silently, and you will have a first-hand view of that. The Guard of Honor, they are precisely assembled. They are resplendent in their #1 dress for this occasion, which is made up of these scarlet tunics, and it's paired with a red striped navy blue trousers and their black ammunition boots, or ammo boots for short, and all of that is gleaming in the sun. They are immaculate and all are in unison.
Soon we will witness one of the most anticipated traditions, that of the powerful march of elected and
You may
Senate
be hearing
representatives
faintly in
to
the
Gordon
background.
House, led by the Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and the Leader of the Opposition, Mark Golding. Their supporters, vibrant and impassioned, will herald their arrival with shouts of jubilation, of course, punctuated with the ringing of bells, fists rising in the air, and vuvuzelas blaring. This year's state opening will unfold against the backdrop of one of the most catastrophic hurricanes to hit this hemisphere. We speak of the fateful day of October 28, 2025, when Category 5 Hurricane
We're standing
Melissa
by for
tore
the
through
band
our western
who
parishes,
are
leaving
always
behind
here and always
devastation,
giving us wonderful music to accompany the occasion. It is a blue and cloudless morning. Jamaica is going back to the sunny and beauty atmosphere that we are used to after experiencing that very wonderful cold front just a few days past. It's a bright, cloudless morning. We've gathered for the state opening of Parliament, and the atmosphere is electric as we wait for the band to take their place in the next few moments.
Soon, we will witness one of the most anticipated traditions, that of the powerful march of elected and Senate representatives to Gordon House, led by Prime Minister Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness and the Leader of the Opposition, Mark Golding. Their supporters, which you saw earlier on screen, vibrant and impassioned, will herald their arrival with shouts of jubilation, of course, punctuated with the ringing of bells, fists in the air, and vuvuzelas. We're now witnessing the This is the march.
band has taken their place. The Guard of Honor are in their spaces now. Previously on your screen, you saw Major Orain James, the Guard Commander. Lisa, and our bandmaster today is...
Our bandmaster today is Warrant Officer Class 1 Gregory Nicholson.
Now that they are in place, they are adjusting their ranks, ensuring that they are perfectly in unison and perfectly presentable, awaiting the arrival of His Excellency the Governor General, who will receive royal salutes and also perform an inspection. You're seeing on screen, you continue to see on screen, the Guard of Honor. And we're going to give you a bit more detail about everything that they do and everything that they are wearing momentarily. As they get into formation, we are awaiting the arrival of the Commissioner of Police. We're awaiting the Chief of the Defense Staff. We are awaiting the members of Parliament and senators. And finally, everyone is awaiting the arrival of His Excellency the Governor General, Sir Patrick Allen.
Soon, we will witness one of the most anticipated traditions, that of the powerful march of elected and Senate representatives to Gordon House, led by the Prime Minister, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, and the Leader of the Opposition, Mark Golding. Their supporters, which you saw earlier on our screen, vibrant and impassioned, will herald their arrival with shouts of jubilation, of course punctuated with the ringing of bells, fists rising in the air, and vuvuzelas blaring.
And of course, Lisa, always it's a singular fashionable event.
It is.
The members of Parliament come out in their colors, come out in their finery.
Yes, and I believe this is actually what most people tend to look for at the ceremonial opening of Parliament. There is the important stuff of the throne speech, but the pageantry and the fashion usually takes center stage.
We are standing by for the arrival of the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, which you will see momentarily on your screens.
Now, as we look up and down Duke Street, you will see supporters of both political parties in their colors. Everyone is expectant. Even children are joining in on the excitement.
You just saw supporters of the Jamaica Labour Party, and they are gathered in a specific position. All the events that you're seeing here today are traditional. Where the political party supporters gather, what directions the members of Parliament and the senators walk from, all of this is steeped in tradition. the arrivals begin. The Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, is now making his way down Duke Street. Dr. Blake has served the Jamaica Constabulary Force for over 20 years and was appointed Commissioner of Police on March 19, 2024. Under his stewardship, Jamaica continues to record double-digit decline in murders and other major crimes, and the force itself continues its very public transformation and modernization from the inside out. Dr. Blake is here, and we now await the arrival of our Chief of Defense Staff.
You are seeing the Chief Justice, Brian Sykes, on your screen, making his way into the chamber.
The idea here is that all dignitaries will arrive, will precede His Excellency the Governor General into the chamber and receive him in the chamber. So we're expecting all our parliamentarians, mayors, state ministers, they will all make their way, and all guests, they will all make their way into the chamber and await the Governor General.
We are now expecting the arrival of the Chief of Defense Staff, Vice Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman. Now, as you look up and down Duke Street, which has come alive today, you realize that this is such a rich and significant part of our history.
Members of the judiciary have entered the chamber, and now you're witnessing the arrival of the Chief of Defense Staff, Vice Admiral Antoinette Weems Gorman. So we have a bit of updated information. Vice Admiral Weems Gorman is unavoidably absent today, and she has sent a representative who you have just seen on the saluting days receiving the acknowledgement of the Guard Commander. We continue to describe the action as it unfolds. as we witness the arrival of members of the judiciary, members of the diplomatic corps. We are standing by for the march to Gordon House. Now, as is customary, our two major political parties will march from either ends of Duke Street. And Lisa, we do need to give some of the strong history of Duke Street, but the senators and the members of parliament aligned to the ruling Jamaica Labour Party, JLP, will come from the northern end of Duke Street. Now that's near to where the headquarters of the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union, BITU, is located. Meanwhile, members of parliament and senators aligned to the People's National Party, they enter parliament by walking from the southern end of Duke Street, and they walk past headquarters house, which is the old House of Parliament, to enter into Gordon House.
The Governor General will be the last to arrive, where he will be given a royal salute, inspects the Guard of Honor, and then heads inside to deliver the throne speech.
But Lisa, Duke Street, we've spoken about its history, and I'd like us to touch on it a little bit. The street was part of the original grid plan for the new city of Kingston. That wasn't yesterday. That was in 1692.
And Duke Street, it has served as a center for finance and law. As a matter of fact, the legacy continues, as many of Jamaica's most distinguished attorneys, get this, they still operate from offices along the corridor. So it is customary to hear that an attorney's office is located at Duke Street.
That is correct. And it's particularly due to its proximity to the Supreme Court,
correct,
that it became known as the premier address for law firms and financial institutions, and it remains so.
On Duke Street 2 at 79 Duke Street, it is the home of the Georgian-style mansion, which is the headquarters of the Jamaica National Heritage Trust, and the building previously served as the meeting place of our legislature. This is, of course, a few meters away from where we now meet at Gordon House.
As we await the march to Gordon House, there are quite a few first-time members of parliament and senators this morning, stemming from the results of our September 2025 general election. But we pause to acknowledge the leader of the Senate, Thomas Tavares Finson, who is arriving now to make his way into the chamber. And he is accompanied by his wife, Rose Tavares Finson. Senator, the Honorable Thomas Tavares Finson, has been serving in the Senate since 2007, and he became its president, Lisa, in March 2016. We've mentioned, Lisa, we've mentioned that it is the place for law firms and financial institutions. Duke Street was also an 18th century residential hub, originally populated by wealthy merchants and officials. And Headquarters House, built in 1755, was built by the merchant Thomas Hibbert, and it stands as a prominent example of this era.
Earlier we saw the Police Commissioner, Dr. Kevin Blake, greeting the President of the Senate, Thomas Tavares Finson.
So earlier we mentioned that there are quite a few first-time MPs and senators this morning, and we can name a few of them. Lisa, there's Keith Duncan, the former president of the Private Sector Organization of Jamaica, PSOJ. There's Christian Tavares Finson. Viewers and listeners, you would recognize the name, attorney at law, and whose father is the Senate president.
And attorney at law Rosemary Bennett Cooper. First-time opposition senators too, Keisha Gay Anderson, who is a director at Jamaica Money Market Brokers, JMMB, Alan Bernard, who is an educator, Dr. Maziki Tem, Senior Lecturer in the Department of Government at the University of the West Indies, Mona, and a voice that is known to many as he favors many talk shows and radio programs, financial analyst Cleveland Tomlinson, and the Chief Executive Officer of Barita Investments Limited, Ramon Small Ferguson.
The government senators are made up of 13. There are 13 government senators, and there are 8 opposition senators in place. That is the total number for the upper house. Here you're seeing the southern end of Duke Street, where representatives who are here to cheer on the People's National Party are gathering. Now, we've mentioned a few times that we're all waiting on His Excellency the Governor General to arrive, but he will be immediately preceded by his wife, Lady Allen.
And you are now seeing on your screens the Speaker of the House of Representatives, the Most Honorable Juliet Holness. She was elected to serve as Speaker in September 2023. Mrs. Holness is looking beautiful in a cobalt blue dress with a cobalt blue fascinator. She has served as Deputy Speaker of the House from 2020 to 2023, now serves as the House Speaker. She is the 16th House Speaker.
Now, her role is to see that other members keep within the rules of the House and that the rights of the opposition members are protected and that every member gets a fair hearing. Weighty role.
Scenes there of jubilant supporters as the Prime Minister and his team make their way into Gordon House.
Yes, Dr. the Most Honorable Andrew Holness is making his way, surrounded by other members of Parliament from the northern end of Duke Street, right past the Bustamante Industrial Trade Union. So our first time JLP members of Parliament, just a few profiles. There's Delano Sivright. He is the Member of Parliament for St. Andrew North Central. There's Audrey Marks, the Member of Parliament for Manchester Northeastern, and Andrew Morris, Member of Parliament for St. Elizabeth North Western. And here we have the government senators and members of Parliament marching up from the northern end of Duke Street. We see our Minister of Foreign Affairs and Trade, Senator Kamina Johnson-Smith.
And Finance Minister, the Honorable Favour Williams. She will, of course, table the estimates of expenditure later this afternoon and has already prepared the nation as to what is to come.
From the southern end of Duke Street, members of the opposition are making their way, led by opposition leader Mark Golding. Our Minister of Agriculture, Floyd Green, flanks the Prime Minister. Lisa, you are the expert on the colors. I cannot identify the shade of blue that our Minister
That's a powder blue suit being worn by Minister Floyd Green.
Thank you so much.
The opposition, Dr. Dayton Campbell, the leader of the opposition, Mark Golding, Nikisha Burchell, a first-time member of Parliament, and again, members of the Jamaica Labour Party, the governing party's representatives making their way into Duke Street. There is the Prime Minister.
And just behind him, Marlene Malahoo, 4th Member of Parliament, Robert Nestor Morgan, our Minister of Water, Matthew Muda, Senator Abka Fitzhenley, Minister of Industry and Investments, Senator Albin Hill. As members of the opposition make their way into the parliament, we would also like to acknowledge first-time People's National Party members of parliament.
Minister of Tourism, Open Bartlett.
And our Minister of Transport just made his way in, the Honorable Darrell Vaz.
The Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Education, Dr. Kassan Troop, also makes her way in as we wait for shots of the opposition People's National Party.
As first-time MPs on the PNP side, there is Nikisha Burchell, who is the Member of Parliament for St. James Southern, Christopher Brown, MP for St. Mary's South Eastern, Andrea Perkis, MP for Hanover Eastern, and Heather Miller Bennett, MP for Hanover Western, all making their way into the chamber. The upper and lower houses have gathered, awaiting the arrival of His Excellency, the Governor General.
And Theo, this is the singular moment each year where the Governor General will be addressing both houses of Parliament, both the upper and lower house.
Let us pause to invite those who are joining us from afar. You can participate in this moment by sharing the stream on the JIS website or social media platforms or your television station of choice to those who are not yet on, as we all participate in, Lisa, you called it a singular national moment. As the guard of honor remains at attention, the streetliners behind them creating a physical boundary for the street. We now welcome, and we are standing by for the arrival of His Excellency and Her Excellency, Sir Patrick Allen and Lady Allen.
The Governor General will deliver the throne speech, appropriately themed, building forward, enhancing resilience, expanding opportunity.
You can tell that Lady Allen is arriving because the vehicle is accompanied by the mounted troops of the Jamaica Constabulary Force, gleaming white in their ceremonial dress. Lady Allen, the wife of the Governor General, will be met by the Commissioner of Police, Dr. Kevin Blake, and the Deputy Clerk, who will escort her into the chamber to take her place. We are instead witnessing the arrival of the Governor General himself. His Excellency Sir Patrick Allen has arrived, and he has been met by the representative of the Jamaica Defense Force. He's now going to be escorted to the saluting dais, where he will receive the first of 2 royal salutes. The anthem will be delivered, and we ask you to show it the appropriate respect. And then the Governor General will perform an inspection of the Guard of Honor. Naturally, we'll give you all the details on the significance of that inspection.
The Guard of Honor invites His Excellency, rather the Guard Commander invites His Excellency to conduct an inspection of the Guard of Honor. All of these activities, of course, are part of our tradition that are symbolic of our deep connection to the British monarchy.
Again, we are pleased, the President, with the presence of our Governor General, who was unavoidably absent last year, but he is here reprising his role in the delivery of the throne speech. He has now assumed the saluting days. He'll receive the first of 2 royal salutes, followed by the national anthem.
The colour ensigns salute the Governor General with what appears to be flags, but in fact are called colours. A colour is the official ceremonial flag of a military unit, originally of an infantry unit only. In the infantry of the British Army and the armies of other Commonwealth countries. Each battalion carries 2 colours.
The Guard Commander has delivered the salute. That is Major Orion James, and he will now invite His Excellency to conduct an inspection of the Guard of Honor.
Now, the colour that resembles the Jamaican flag is known as the King's Colour, symbolizing the monarch as Jamaica's head of state. The King's Colour is usually a version of the country's national flag, trimmed with the gold fabric and with the regiment's insignia placed in the centre.
Having received the sword salute, the Governor General now begins his inspection. Now, the inspection signifies the military's dedication, discipline, and respect for civilian, non-partisan authority. It also provides an opportunity to recognize the service of military personnel, boost morale, and thank them for their dedication, which is on display, their dedication to national security. The inspection also serves as a visual confirmation of the military standards and readiness. Some details on the Guard of Honor. This morning's Guard of Honor is formed by the 1st Battalion of the Jamaica Regiment, 1JR, Lisa. And we've mentioned the Guard Commander, but there are a few other ranks of note that we'd like to point out here, starting with the Subaltern of the Guard, who is Lieutenant Carl Boudou.
The Colour Party, Lieutenant Jaheem Mighty, 2nd Lieutenant Lamar Dane Marshall, Warrant Officer Class 2 Michael Campbell, Staff Sergeant Marvin Sinclair, Sergeant Nyron Anderson, and Sergeant Miguel Cole all form the Colour Party of the Guard of Honor.
Our parade RSM is Warrant Officer Class 1 Sheldon Brown. The right guide is Warrant Officer Class 2 Marlton Mullings. The left guide, Staff Sergeant Fitzroy Cameron.
And left side streetliner commander, 2nd Lieutenant Brandon Buckley. Right side street line commander, Lieutenant Rajay Pickersgill. and Bandmaster, Warrant Officer Class 1 Gregory Nicholson, Drum Major, Warrant Officer Class 2 Ramoy Dawkins.
The inspection complete. The Governor General retakes the days and receives the second royal salute.
That was the second sword salute. The other color represents the regiment or unit of the Jamaica Defense Force that forms the Guard of Honor. These flags are also trimmed with gold fabric and display the formation's insignia in the center. Now you may have seen that flag with the Jamaican colors.
The Governor General now enters the chamber. Here's what will happen next. The Clerk of the Legislature, Colleen Lowe, will meet the Governor General at the foot of the stairs, and with him will move towards the chamber's entrance. They will pause there for what is called the flourish of trumpets, a brief musical fanfare that precedes him. Then the Marshal to the Houses of Parliament, that is Captain Wayne Blake, will announce his entry, for which all present will stand. The measured cadence of the military band has provided us with lovely music this morning. Again, they are the mass band of the Jamaica Regiment Corps of Drums, led by Bandmaster Warrant Officer Class 1 Gregory Nicholson, and the drum major is Warrant Officer Class 2 Ramoy Dawkins. Now, Lisa, having completed their duties in splendid fashion for the morning, the Guard of Honor will depart as precisely and silently as they arrived, as those within the chamber await the delivery of the throne speech.
And many Jamaicans are expecting to hear what will be announced. This throne speech takes place against the backdrop of two significant things. We have double-digit decline in crime, but we also have been hit by one of the most powerful hurricanes, Hurricane Melissa. People will be expecting to hear how the government plans to support those impacted, and also how we will go about building back stronger, and of course, making us a far more resilient country.
And that is the whole thrust behind the throne speech, for it outlines government's parliamentary policies and executive intentions for the coming legislative year. Now, it's important to note that this morning's ceremony will be followed in the afternoon, the second session, by the tabling of the 2026-2027 Estimates of Expenditure by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, the Honourable Favour Williams. Those estimates will provide details on the amount the government intends to spend on recurring business, on capital projects. We're now getting visuals from inside the chamber as the Governor General takes his place. Having taken his place in the chamber, the proceedings inside the chamber will continue, starting with the invocation, which will be done by Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists. He will be performing the invocation today.
A quick reminder that the throne speech outlines the government's parliamentary policies and executive intentions for the coming legislative year.
The Guard of Honor. Deliver that throne speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, this morning has unfolded
I now invite Pastor Everett Brown, President of the Jamaica Union Conference of Seventh-day Adventists, to say prayer.
Let us pray. Divine, all-powerful God, who rules in the affairs of nations, the source of all wisdom and knowledge, we humbly pause at the opening of this new legislature to acknowledge you as the one who holds Jamaica's past, present, and future in your sovereign hands. We thank you, O gracious Eternal Father, for the rich legacy of our national heroes, men and women of courage, conviction, and conscience, whose sacrifice, vision, and faith helped to shape a nation committed to justice, dignity, and freedom. We honor not only their memory, but the living work of all who seek to transform their dreams into reality. We give you thanks for those who serve today, our Governor General, Prime Minister, Leader of the Opposition, and other elected representatives and leaders, for government agencies and the civil service, for the public and private sectors, and our dedicated workers, faithful farmers, and for the resilient people of Jamaica at home and abroad. We pray that you would grant wisdom to those who legislate, integrity to those who administer, diligence to those who labor, and hope for those who wait. We acknowledge, O God, that our nation has walked through the valley of loss and disruption caused by Hurricane Melissa. We mourn the loss of lives, saddened by what was damaged, displaced, and delayed. Yet, O God, we thank you that even in adversity, Jamaica continues to advance, steadfast, creative, and determined. Heal our nation, we pray. Turn our setbacks into strategies, our trials into testimony, and our recovery into renewal. We pray today, sovereign Almighty God, that as this Parliament begins its work, establish before us noble goals, that justice may be strengthened, that economic opportunity may be broadened, that communities may be safer and more compassionate, that the vulnerable may be protected, and that truth, transparency, and accountability may guide every decision within these chambers. May the laws framed here reflect moral clarity, social responsibility, and a deep respect for the worth of every Jamaican. May debate within these chambers be firm yet fair, leadership be bold yet humble, and governance be guided by service rather than self-interest. Finally, O Lord, we commit this legislative year into your care. Grant us wisdom to decide, courage to do right, and grace to serve well. May our nation move forward in peace with purpose, unity with understanding, and development with principle, until Jamaica stands secure, just and hopeful, blessed in vision, balanced in values, and bold in faith. Gracious God, accept our prayer, we pray. Amen.
Please be seated.
By virtue of the Constitution of Jamaica, a proclamation. By His Excellency the Most Honorable Sir Patrick Linton Allen, Member of the Order of the Nation, Knight, Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Commander of the Order of Distinction, Knight of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, Governor General of Jamaica, whereas it is provided by subsection 1 of section 63 of the Constitution of Jamaica that each session of Parliament of Jamaica shall be held at such place and shall commence at such time as the Governor General may by proclamation appoint. And whereas it is expedient that a session of the Parliament of Jamaica should be held at such place and commence at such time as shall hereinafter appear. Now therefore, I, Patrick Linton Allen, Member of the Order of the Nation, Knight Grand Cross of the Most Distinguished Order of St. Michael and St. George, Commander of the Order of Distinction, Knight of Grace of the Most Venerable Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem, Governor General of Jamaica, in exercise of the power conferred on me by subsection 1 of section 63 of the Constitution of Jamaica, do hereby proclaim and make known that a session of the Parliament of Jamaica shall be held at George William Gordon House in the parish of Kingston, commencing at 11 a.m. on the 12th day of February 2026. Given under my hand and the broad seal of Jamaica at King's House, this 9th day of February in the year of our Lord, 2026, and the 4th year of the reign of His Majesty King Charles III. God save the King.
Thank you. Honorable members, we are gathered at a decisive moment in Jamaica's national journey. In the past year, our nation was tested by Hurricane Melissa, one of the most destructive and disruptive climate events in our history. It tested our institutions, and communities, but it did not break our indomitable spirit. It also revealed something fundamental, that Jamaica has changed. We are no longer a country that merely reacts to crises and recovers with delay. Jamaica now prepares, absorbs shocks, and rebounds with speed and purpose. Long before Hurricane Melissa made landfall, Jamaica had put in place a multi-layered disaster risk financing framework that was built on pre-positioned reserves, contingent credit, and insurance mechanisms. That preparation enabled the government to respond immediately, financing relief, recovery with unprecedented speed and scale. Within just 5 weeks of the hurricane, the government secured a US $6.7 billion financing package to support recovery and rebuilding, the largest and fastest mobilization ever achieved by Jamaica. This strength was underscored in the immediate aftermath of the hurricane, when all 3 major international credit rating agencies reaffirmed Jamaica's sovereign ratings. This is an extraordinary vote of confidence in our policy discipline and institutional credibility. The months following Hurricane Melissa have reinforced 3 simple truths. 1, preparedness matters. 2, institutional strength matters. And leadership matters. It is this hard-earned resilience that now allows Jamaica not only to recover, but also to move forward, rebuilding smarter, strengthening national systems, and expanding opportunities. The government's plan for the year ahead go beyond not only reconstructing what was damaged by reimagining what is possible, but building modern infrastructure with greater climate resilience, and institutions designed for speed, scale, and opportunity. This is about turning adversity into advantage, about shaping a Jamaica that is stronger in the face of shock, more competitive on the global market, and more inclusive in the prosperity that it creates. The challenges ahead are real, but so too is Jamaica's ambition. With resilience as our foundation and opportunity as our direction, Jamaica moves forward not merely to recover, but to rise. Confident in our capacity, disciplined in our choices, and determined to shape a future worthy of our people. Honorable members, the government continues to drive effective coordination of national policy and public sector reform by strengthening accountability, results-based management, and institutional capability across government in support of Vision 2030 Jamaica. This has taken on heightened urgency in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. The widespread devastation caused by the hurricane underscored both the vulnerability of critical infrastructure and the need for a more integrated and disciplined national framework for recovery and resilience. In response, the government has established the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority, initially as a department, pending the enactment of special purpose legislation to constitute it as a statutory corporation. NARA will operate as a center of technical excellence for project preparation and execution. NARA will serve as a single point of national coordination across ministries, agencies, and development partners, while providing a structured platform for public-private partnership. Through NARA, Jamaica will convert unprecedented levels of international financing into bankable, resilient projects delivered transparently, quickly, with discipline, and with measurable impact. This authority represents a new development architecture for Jamaica, one that embeds resilience into national planning, accelerates delivery, and ensures that reconstruction and resilience investments translate into lasting economic opportunity and sustained national strength. Honorable members, following Hurricane Melissa, the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management, ODPEM, supported by the Jamaica Defense Force, provided humanitarian support through a hub and spoke system. ODPEM also completed the Jamaican dollar 1.87 billion improved emergency communication system, created to secure national radio and data network for faster, more reliable emergency communication. As Jamaica continues to strengthen its digital security architecture, the nation was recognized in the 2025 OSIDB Cybersecurity Report as the English-speaking Caribbean's most cyber-mature nation. In 2025-26, the National Identification and Registration Authority was established as a unified civil registration and national identification framework, incorporating the Registrar General's Department, and launched a new client portal. The government will pursue a mission-driven strategy for science, technology, and innovation that converts Jamaican talents into measurable national outcomes. The focus is on research for development, for science and technology, deployed to solve Jamaica's problems at speed and at scale. A unified national operating model will align government, academia, and industry so research moves from laboratories into real products, policies, and services. Key policies progress, including the key policies progressed, including the Comprehensive Disaster Risk Management Policy, that's the draft white paper, the National Logistic Plan, and the National AI Policy. Legislative advances included the Data Protection, Disposal of Personal Data Regulations, and the Cyber Crimes Amendment Act. In 2026-27, priorities include developing the National Community or Continuity of Governance Plan, broadening and accelerating implementation of the streamlining processes for efficiency and economic development, a SPEED program, and tabling electoral integrity reforms and reforms to the Integrity Commission Act. Honorable members, the government recorded 3 major achievements in 2025-2026. First, the government monetized its portion of Sangster International Airport revenue, raising US $400 million through a 10-year bond issued by Montego Bay Airport Revenue Finance Limited. This follows the successful 2024-2025 monetization of the Norman Manley International Airport revenue, which received Latin Finance's 2025 Infrastructure Financing of the Year Caribbean Award. Second, Jamaica's national natural disaster risk financing policy enabled an immediate response to Hurricane Melissa. All disaster risk financing instruments were triggered. The deposits in the Contingencies Fund and the National Natural Disaster Reserve Fund financed relief, rehabilitation, and initial reconstruction, supplemented by donor flows. Thirdly, Moody's upgraded Jamaica's long-term issuer and senior unsecured ratings to Ba3 from B1 in December 2025. With our outlook revised to stable, this upgrade, delivered after Hurricane Melissa, reflects strengthened institutional and policy frameworks, sustained fiscal discipline, stronger financial sector oversight, and enhanced disaster risk management. S&P Global and Fitch rating agencies reaffirmed their ratings of BB and BB minus, respectively, following Hurricane Melissa. Legislative actions during the year included the tabling and approval of an order to suspend the fiscal rules following Hurricane Melissa, and the tabling of bills to amend the Income Tax Act and Assets Tax Specified Bodies Act to change corporate income tax and assets tax filing and payment during dates, in due dates. For 2026-27, priorities include implementing procurement system reforms through the Public Procurement Commission and securing passage of the Customs Bill. Honorable members, the execution of the government security program, Plan Secure Jamaica, continues to deliver strong results. Most notably is the significant decline in crime and violence, particularly murders and shootings. Since 2023, Jamaica has recorded a sustained and accelerating reduction in homicides, with this momentum continuing into 2026. In January 2026, murders declined by 55% compared with the same period in 2025. The long-held dream of a safer, more peaceful Jamaica is no longer distant. It is steadily becoming a reality that Jamaicans can see and feel in their communities. We continue to invest in strengthening the physical infrastructure of the Jamaica Constabulary Force to provide modern, fit-for-purpose facilities for both police officers and the public they serve. Over $17 billion in capital projects has been committed, and despite the impact of Hurricane Melissa, 27 restoration projects valued at Jamaican $2 billion are ready and underway or scheduled to commence. Technology development also continues apace, with the C5 business solution to be implemented this fiscal year and the expansion of the ticketing information management system, TIMS, to support improved public order. We are also ensuring that the peace dividends are felt across the wider society, as all ministries, departments, and agencies work collectively to sustain peace and good public order. Our regional and international partnerships remain critical with Jamaica strengthening its leadership through initiatives such as hosting the inaugural Caribbean Trafficking in Persons CARITIP Forum. 2, establishing a regional anti-trafficking coalition. And 3, advancing the National Small Arms Control Strategy under the Salient Jamaican Program, a joint United Nations initiative. Legislative reform remains a key pillar to our national security agenda. Amendments to the Aliens Act, the Immigration Restriction Act, and the Firearms Act are progressing, with priorities for the period ahead include reform of the Corrections Act, review of public order legislation, expansion of security technology, upgrades to Jamaica Eye, continued facility construction, and the commencement of a new specialized operations facility. Honorable members, the government advanced a major reform agenda focused on digital transformation, improved justice service delivery, and legislative modernization. A US $4.5 million bilateral agreement with Rwanda was signed to implement an integrated electronic case management system over 3 years. This is meant to modernize the courts, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, correctional services, and related agencies. Justice service remained robust. The Restorative Justice Program concluded over 1,000 conferences and sensitized approximately 22,000 individuals. The Victim Services Division assisted over 3,000 new clients delivered over 8,000 counseling sessions, and supported over 1,000 victims in court. The Child Diversion Program engaged nearly 7,000 persons, while the Legal Aid Council provided representation to over 2,700 individuals. The strong promotion of alternative dispute resolution continues to emphasize the avoidance of violence in settling disputes. Parliament passed amendments increasing penalties for murder through the Offences Against the Person and Criminal Justice Administration Acts. Legislative priorities progressed, including the Criminal Records Rehabilitation of Offenders Amendment Bill, expanding expungement eligibility. 2, the Mediation Bill, establishing a modern regulatory framework aligned with the Singapore Convention. And 3, the Jury Amendment Bill, increasing jury stipends and enabling trials to continue in cases of jury tampering. For 2026-27, the priorities include rehabilitation of damaged facilities, advancing constitutional reform toward a republic, addressing judicial tenure, and undertaking major amendments to the Sexual Offences and Offences Against the Person Acts, including the introduction of new offenses such as stalking. Honorable members, with Jamaica's strong job creation gains and expanding capital program, the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation has been renamed the Ministry of Economic Growth and Infrastructure Development to sharpen its focus on sustained economic expansion and the national resilience. Following Hurricane Melissa, the government led major recovery efforts, clearing most of the 400 impacted roads within 5 days after the event, and restoring access for emergency response, utilities, and relief operations. This work now transitions into targeted repairs to hurricane-damaged roofs, gullies, and drains, including Sandy Gully in St. Andrew and the North and South Gullies in St. James, supported by an expanded national drain cleaning program. Long-term infrastructure delivery continues to accelerate. By December 2025, the SPARK program had reached 20% completion. Major national projects also advanced significantly. The Montego Bay Perimeter Road is 75% complete and scheduled to be completed in September 2026. The Long Hill Bypass is scheduled to be completed in January 2027. And Barnett Street in March 2027, among several others. The construction of the Portmore Resilience Park will also be finalized in 2026-2027. Capacity expansion continues under the Special Capital Expenditure Program, including the dualization of Brayton Road and the Hillshire Main Road, and the phased Arthur Wint Drive. Tom Redcombe and Camp Road will also be upgraded. The Accelerated Bridge Program will also begin replacing structurally vulnerable bridges. Land, housing, and urban planning reforms remain central. The systematic land registration program has produced over 13,000 titles. Including over 10,000 delivered across St. Elizabeth, Manchester, and St. Catherine. Through strategic funding partnerships, we will continue to increase the insurance of titles. Additionally, to improve efficiency, the contract for the electronic titling system was signed and implementation is planned for 2027-2028. To improve our capacity, we are also advancing our partnership with Korea in our surveyor training program. Under the new social housing program, 314 units, that's 720 rooms, have been completed, benefiting more than 1,100 Jamaicans. Delivery of more housing units through different modalities will be achieved by using new building methods and systems, giving an opportunity to more small contractors, especially our young people. Legislative priorities include the Quantity Surveyors Registration Act, Registration Shared Community Act, and reforms to the Real Estate and Rent Restriction Acts, alongside policies on squatter management, urban renewal, construction industry reform, and public rights of way governance. Honorable members, even as it led national relief coordination, damage assessments, and recovery efforts, the government ensured uninterrupted delivery of PATH, National Insurance Scheme benefits, and social pensions. Following Hurricane Melissa, the government executed one of the largest and fastest social response operations in Jamaica's history. More than 75,000 damage assessments were completed within the first 100 days, and over 90,000 by the first week of February, using the upgraded JHDINA Lite platform and a real-time national dashboard supported by over 700 committed volunteers, 400 of whom were from the MDAs and citizens volunteers. Recovery efforts have now moved decisively into shelter restoration with the launch of the Shelter Recovery Program, including the restoration of owner and occupant family shelter roofs program. This is the largest housing recovery initiative ever undertaken in Jamaica. With more than Jamaica $10 billion initially allocated, and Jamaica $2 billion has already been disbursed. Digital transformation also continued to expand access, accountability, and inclusion. The I'm Alive application is scheduled to launch early in the new fiscal year to enable secure electronic life verification for pensioners. Additionally, the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disabilities launched the I Am Able digital platform. The Occupational Safety and Health Bill has progressed through multiple drafting stages and is expected to proceed to Parliament in 2026-2027. Looking ahead, the government will advance unemployment insurance legislation through amendments to the National Insurance Act and related laws, the development of a national productivity measurement framework, and the creation of an occupational safety and health risk management toolkit. In 2025-2026, the government advanced Jamaica's diplomatic, multilateral, and trade agenda with a clear focus on resilience, strategic planning and partnerships, and post-disaster recovery. Jamaica's leadership on the regional stage was particularly evident during its tenure as chair of the Caribbean Conference Heads of Government from July to December 2025. We are proud to report that during this period, intra-regional airlift expanded, trade cooperation deepened, and the concrete progress was made on food and nutrition security initiatives, youth development, and also cybersecurity. Regional security cooperation was also advanced through the sharing of best practices and engagement on transnational organized crime, alongside strengthened CARICOM Africa relationships. In the wake of Hurricane Melissa, through its missions and partnerships worldwide, Jamaica secured invaluable delivery of essential goods, technical expertise, and humanitarian support from bilateral and multilateral partners, non-governmental organizations, and the Jamaican diaspora. Jamaica also signed the UN Cybercrime Convention, ratified the Biodiversity Beyond National Jurisdiction Agreement, advanced work on a deep seabed mining legislative framework, and commenced preparations to strengthen compliance with United Nations Security Council resolutions on counterterrorism and non-proliferation. Looking ahead to 2026-2027, the government's priorities include: 1, deepening bilateral engagement with traditional and non-traditional partners; 2, advancing UN 80 multilateral reform efforts and global action against transnational crime; and 3, finalizing an updated foreign trade policy and action plan to boost exports, attract investment, and support Jamaica's economic recovery and growth. Honorable members, the 2024-2025 academic year confirmed that Jamaica's education system has regained its stride. PEP and CXC results surpassed previous cohorts. Surpassed previous cohorts and regional averages, restoring and in some areas exceeding pre-pandemic performance. This achievement belongs to our principals, teachers, parents, and students. Despite severe infrastructural damage from Hurricane Melissa, the sector demonstrated exceptional resilience. All schools in affected parishes resumed teaching and learning within 90 days, and this is an unprecedented national accomplishment that underscores strong leadership and the government's commitment and also the government's commitment to no child will be left behind. Reconstruction efforts are advancing at scale, and all priority 1 institutions will be fully repaired within this calendar year. The government is also accelerating modernization. 10 technical high schools will receive state-of-the-art technical and vocational education and training TVET labs in partnership with the Human Employment and Resource Training National Service Training Agency, HART, NSTA Trust. 2, 86 schools will have upgraded science laboratories. 3, and by late 2026, ground will be broken for Bernard Lodge and Minard STEAM schools. Ushering in a new era of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics education. Institutional reform is also advancing. The government will establish a Department of Family and Children's Services and reform the Youth and Adolescents Policy Division to strengthen governance and evidence-based policymaking. Legislative priorities include completing consultations on the Jamaica Teaching Council Bill and updating school governance regulations under the Education Act. Studies have shown that institutions with strong school governance are better run and deliver more impressive educational outcomes. These new regulations will introduce best practices of school governments to all our institutions. Implementation of the Education Transformation Commission recommendation also continues, with 33% ready implemented. Under the information portfolio, the government will introduce a modern communication apparatus to ensure Jamaica has access to accurate public information, unbiased public information, protecting truth, strengthening trust, safeguarding democratic values, and reinforcing our shared national consciousness. Honorable members, despite the devastation caused by Hurricane Melissa, which resulted in losses exceeding $10 billion Jamaican dollars, Jamaica's water sector demonstrated resilience and rapid recovery. By December 2025, water services had been restored to more than 90% of customers, and we are now at 95%. Our emergency response capacity was strengthened through the procurement of 12 additional water trucks, adding 146,000 liters of emergency supply per cycle. To ease the impact of drought conditions, Jamaica has 243 million, I beg your pardon, Jamaica, to ease the impact of drought conditions, Jamaican dollars 243 million was allocated to Parliament, to the members of Parliament, for trucked water support. Rural Water Supply Limited expanded access to potable water for more than 8,700 residents, with the figure projected to reach approximately 14,000 by March 2026. Additionally, Jamaican 28 million Western Resilience Water Project, which was launched in June 2025, remains on track, with engineering and design work now complete. This project is scheduled to enter the full construction phase in June 2026. This will improve water supply and build resilience between Trelawney and Westmoreland for over 150,000 Jamaicans. Climate resilience and environmental management were also strengthened. The Water Resources Authority installed real-time flood gauges in Content, Manchester, and developed a climate-linked food insecurity mapping tool to support early warning and also planning. Under the National Tree Planting Initiative, Phase 2, more than 200,000 trees were planted. And 60 new forest management areas were declared. The Forestry Department further enhanced recovery and biodiversity protection through the deployment of the region's first tree spade. The use of its bulldozer component played a critical role in clearing roads. On the policy and legislative front, priorities in 2026-27 include passing a modern Forest Act, amending the Wildlife Protection Act, and advancing comprehensive climate change legislation, as well as a beach access and management policy. Secondly, the government will also pursue US $20 million from the International Loss and Damage Fund to climate-proof water systems, complete rural water projects in Hampshire, Riversdale, St. Catherine, and Stepney in St. Anne, benefiting 4,600 residents, and also implement major e-mobility initiatives in partnership with the United Nations Development Programme, the Global Environment Facility, and the German Agency for International Cooperation. Honorable members, notwithstanding the extensive damage inflicted on Jamaica's electricity grid by Hurricane Melissa, through decisive action and the steadfast support of government, the Jamaica Public Service Company successfully restored power to over 90% of its customers. By December 2025. Beyond emergency recovery, advanced major reforms in energy efficiency, transport modernization, and telecommunications are underway. Deep retrofitting works, including solar PV systems, efficient lighting, and upgraded air conditioning. These were completed at the University Hospital of the West Indies, with similar upgrades underway across public facilities to reduce costs and strengthen grid resilience. Public transport modernization continued with the acquisition of 300 CNG buses, completion of phase 1 of the rural school bus program, and also the launch of phase 2, supported by new bus procurement and designated school stops, equipped with improved safety and monitoring systems. Strategic infrastructure upgrades progressed, including one, Jamaican dollars 5 billion in airport improvements at Sangster International and Norman Manley International, and the deployment of 200 Ports Security Corps officers to reinforce border protection. A letter intent was also signed with Transamerica's fiber system to develop a new subsea fiber optic cable, expanding bandwidth, improving resilience, and reducing long-term connectivity costs. Legislative progress included the Petroleum Downstream Bill, the Civil Aviation Amendment Bill, amendments to enable electronic vehicle certification, and the implementation of the electricity wheeling regulations. For 2026-27, priorities include negotiating a new all-island electricity license, advancing a ride-hailing policy, procuring 150 additional school buses, and finalizing the National Emergency Telecommunications Plan. Honorable members, in 2025-26, the government advanced major recovery, infrastructure, and legislative reforms while safeguarding continuity of health care in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. Following the activation of the Health Emergency Operations System and Center, in partnership with the Pan American Health Organization, PAHO, the government implemented a structured three-phase relief, rehabilitation, and reconstruction program. This ensured the rapid restoration of essential health services, supported shelters, and enabled timely field assessment across all affected areas. Rehabilitation of primary care infrastructure remains a central priority alongside the delivery of major capital projects. The Western Child and Adolescent Hospital, which will provide 220 beds, 4 operating theaters, and diagnostic equipment. Might I take that again from the top? Rehabilitation of primary care infrastructure remains a central priority alongside the delivery of major capital projects. The Western Child and Adolescent Hospital, which will provide 220 beds, 4 operating theaters, and diagnostic equipment, is at 77% completion. Significant upgrades continued under the Health Systems Strengthening Program. These include 1, the Jamaican $55 billion Spanish Town Hospital redevelopment. Now 24% complete. 2, the Jamaican $930 million Old Harbor Health Center. Now 74% complete. The Jamaican $660 million Greater Portmore Health Center upgrade. The Jamaican $704 million St. Jago Park Health Center expansion. Both now at 60% complete. That is the Portmore Health Center and the St. Jago Park Health Center expansion. And lastly, rehabilitation of Cornwall Regional Hospital. This is now 85% complete. The completion of the Cornwall Regional Hospital will result in an increase in its operating room capacity up to 11. The radiology department will be outfitted with 3 ultrasound machines, CT scanner, fluoroscopy mammography, and dental CT panoramics imaging machines. Legislative reforms progressed steadily, and the advancement of the Tobacco Control Bill and the Food and Drugs Amendment Bill, alongside amendments to the Nurses and Midwives Act and the Pharmacy Act to formally recognize and regulate advanced practice registration nurses, strengthening workforce flexibility and service delivery. Looking ahead to 2026-27, priorities include the rehabilitation of 101 health centers and the Savannah Lamar Hospital, and modernizing 125 primary care facilities. Technical assistance will also be undertaken to inform the reconstruction of the Noel Holmes Hospital, the Falmouth and Black River hospitals also. Additionally, preparatory work will commence for the modernization and redevelopment of the Kingston Public Hospital and a new Type C hospital at Bernal Lodge, positioning the health system for resilience, equity, and future demand. Honorable members, in 2025-2026, the government strengthened sectoral resilience amid severe climate shocks. Up to September, domestic crop production was on track for a record 930,000 tons, while bauxite output rose by 10% to 4.3 million tons. Hurricane Melissa, however, caused major damage, prompting an intensive recovery and modernization drive. Through the Jamaican $3 billion Hurricane Melissa Disaster Recovery Program, the support to impact over 70,000 farmers and fishers is ongoing. Our key actions include, and still includes, restoration of 4,600 hectares of farmland, distribution of 140 million gallons of water, implementing a Jamaican $40 million lease moratorium, waiving fishing license fees for 1,008 fishers, preparing 1,625 hectares of land for 2,000 farmers, and providing fertilizers, seeds, planting materials, livestock support, and beach rehabilitation. A further Jamaican $180 million was used to restore coastal infrastructure and support conch and lobster fishers. A major milestone was last week's opening of the Essex Valley Cold Storage and Agro-Processing Facility in St. Elizabeth. This is expanding storage, processing, and marketing capacity, cutting post-harvest losses, and boosting resilience in Jamaica's agricultural breadbasket. Water security and minerals development also advanced. The Jamaican $1.5 billion Parnassus irrigation system delivered 13.6 kilometers of new pipelines serving 315 hectares, while limestone exports tripled to 750,000 tons, and extensive land rehabilitation and community infrastructure upgrades supported over 8,000 residents. Legislative progress included the passage of the Pradell-Larceny Amendment Act and the advancement of the Geological Survey Act. For 2026-2027, priorities include advancing the work to establish a national food reserve as well as a minerals institute, greenhouse clusters, new agro-parks, rehabilitation of 6 fishing beaches and 70 farm roads, youth startup incentives, quarry material depots, and national landslide hazard remapping and mapping. As I move on, honorable members, tourism remained a cornerstone of economic resilience in 2025-2026, rebounding strongly before Hurricane Melissa disrupted late-year momentum. Despite this, the sector demonstrated exceptional recovery, welcoming 3.7 million visitors and generating US 3.8 billion in revenue. The Tourism Recovery Task Force led a rapid national response, enabling the full reopening of the sector by December 15, 2025. Major properties in Ocho Rios, Negril, and Montego Bay resumed operations quickly, signaling to global markets that Jamaica remains open for business. A major policy breakthrough came with the Cabinet's approval of the Destination Assurance Framework and Strategy, the world's first codified destination assurance policy, designated to guarantee safe, seamless, high-quality visitor experiences and strengthen public order island-wide, the standards for public order. Legislative work advanced on a new Tourist Board Act, the Modernized Travel Agencies Act, and amendments to the Bath of the Apostle and Milk River Bath Acts to support public-private partnerships. For 2026-2027, the government will prioritize the Local First Initiative deepening domestic sourcing and MSME linkages. Market diversification will accelerate toward Latin America, the Middle East, and India, with the goal of raising Latin American market share from 2% to 10% by 2027, and positioning Jamaica to reach 8 million visitors and US $10 billion in earnings by 2030. Honorable members, the government strengthened Jamaica's investment climate, supported MSMEs, and advanced major reforms even as the nation recovers from Hurricane Melissa. Significant investments moved forward, including Accelerate Energy's US $1.55 billion acquisition of the new Fortress Energy LNG and power platform. Special economic zones remain a powerful catalyst, with the Jamaica Special Economic Zone Authority facilitating nearly US $1 billion to date, including US $34 million in 2025 and 2026. Manufacturers benefited from Jamaica $82 billion in tax relief under the Productive Incentive Relief Program, while 52 MSMEs received Jamaican dollars 18 million in grants. The government implemented emergency pre-gouging protections and executed a coordinated MSME recovery. This program, including generator loans, rapid assessments, and the reconstruction of 51 business kiosks in Border, St. Elizabeth, to restore commerce and safeguard livelihoods. Major strides in digital transformation improved the ease of doing business. The Companies of Jamaica and the Companies Office digitized annual returns and beneficial ownership filings cutting processing times from weeks to minutes. The Jamaica Intellectual Property Office launched Jamaica's first fully digital IP registration platform. Legislative reforms are advanced for amendments to the JAMPRO Act, progress on Jamaica Consumer and Competition Authority Bill, and amendments to the Dangerous Drugs, Cannabis Licensing Interim Regulations 2026 to provide for ease of entry for traditional small-scale farmers. In 2026-2027, the government will modernize the Insolvency Partnership and Companies Act, implement the revised MSME policy, and support transformative SEZ investments, reinforcing Jamaica's competitiveness and economic resilience. Honorable members, in 2025-2026, the government strengthened disaster response, social protection, and emergency services infrastructure at the community level. Ahead of and following Hurricane Melissa, the ministry, its agencies, and all municipal corporations led national preparedness, shelter management, and coordinated mobilization across government, the private sector, NGOs, and community groups. They installed a therapeutic park in St. Catherine, built new matron's quarters in Hanover, and completed major repairs at the St. Thomas Female Ward. A new drop-in center and night shelter in Portland. It now accommodates 28 homeless persons. And 8 indigent houses were delivered to vulnerable households. Emergency response capability improved with the renovation of 4 fire stations costing Jamaican $77 million. Key legislative advances include 1, the passage of the Counties and Parishes Amendment Act, granting Portmore parish status. Two, readiness of the NSWMA validation bill for tabling. And 3, continued consultations on the Human Services Bill to modernize social care delivery. For 2026-2027, priorities include strengthening solid waste systems, rebuilding climate-resilient municipal facilities, and upgrading shelters and social care services to ensure safer, more resilient communities. Honorable members, in 2025-2026, the government advanced Jamaica's creative economy, strengthened gender equality, protected cultural heritage, and supported national sporting excellence. A joint select committee is reviewing the national policy for culture, entertainment, and the creative economy 2025 to 2035. This will guide long-term sector growth and inform a new Culture, Entertainment, and Creative Economy Act. To safeguard integrity in sport, amendments to the Anti-Doping in Sport Act 2014 and updated JADCO rules will ensure full alignment with the 2027 World Anti-Doping Code. The government's mission to end domestic violence remains urgent. A full review of the Domestic Violence Act is underway, supported by expanded shelters, intervention centers, and 24-hour hotlines. This year, a gender-based violence mobile act will be launched to provide discreet access to emergency help, legal information, and support services. Athlete welfare is being strengthened through improvements to the Jamaica Athletes Insurance Plan, guided by an actuarial study to increase efficiency and extend coverage to coaches. Major investment in sporting infrastructure continues, with the National Stadium Redevelopment Program progressing through concept, detailed, and technical design phases ahead of construction in 2027. Jamaica's global cultural standing was further affirmed with Port Royal's archaeological ensemble, inscribed on the UNESCO World Heritage List, joining the Blue Mountain and John Crow Mountains and underscoring the nation's outstanding heritage. Our reputation as the hottest team on ice has been burnished by the recent success of the bobsleigh team, which won Jamaica's first gold medal at an international sledding competition at the North American Cup in November. Jamaica's athletes are currently competing in bobsleigh and alpine skiing at the Winter Olympic Games in Italy, and we wish them great success. Honorable members, this is Jamaica's moment to rebuild forward, enhancing resilience, expanding opportunity. Tested by adversity, strengthened by preparation, and guided by ambition, we move ahead with confidence in our people, our future, and our destiny. We place our trust in the Lord who says, and I quote, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." Let us therefore act with unity, discipline, and resolve, determined not only to recover, but to rise, shaping a Jamaica worthy of aspirations of this generation and the generations to come. May God bless you and bless Jamaica, land we love.
You try to mash up the dance, man. If you're in here enough, it will happen. If you're in here enough, it will happen. It's not a big thing. So I'm saying if you're in here, why is that sign? How is that sign? Are you losing?
Thank you very much, Chief Justice, Honorable President of the Court of Appeal, Public Defender, Senior Deputy, and of course, Marlene. This Honorable Senate for Thursday, February the 12th, 2026 is called to order with statements by ministers, announcements, bills brought from the Honorable House of Representatives, petitions, papers, reports from committees, notices of motions given orally, questions and answers to questions, motions that may be made at the commencement of public business requiring notice, motions relating to the sitting of the Senate, motions for leave to introduce bills, the presentation of bills without the leave of the Senate first obtained. Public Business Minister.
Mr. President, as always, it's not intended to conduct any formal business today, but we do, of course, recognize that this is the start of a new legislative year. It is the first legislative year in the new administration's term, the third term of the Andrew Holness-led administration. And I want to just take the opportunity at this start to again call on us to set a tone that sets an example for how the public of Jamaica looks at the Parliament and how we go about the business of the people, which is what we are charged with doing. Certainly, our spirit of collaboration across the floor, the way in which we engage with each other, that sets an example. And if we are, in fact, working towards a more peaceful and orderly society, then it must be that that is the tone that we set up here. So I want to, of course, give the commitment on behalf of the government Senate and anticipate the very same on the opposition, that we start this new day, this new spirit of collaboration. I notice everyone is not present, but I know this will be communicated to those who are absent, that this is the way in which we want to have the promulgation of laws for the peace and good governance of Jamaica to be conducted. So we will try to be more collaborative, try to be more collegial. We invite you all to come back to lunch downstairs so that more informal setting, the more relaxed setting, can help to just break down any barriers that may have somehow become erected without us even realizing. The majority of the opposition Senate is new, and I take that also as the opportunity for newness in our relationships and a re-energizing of the spirit of collegiality within the Senate. So, Mr. President, thank you. Thank you. So I've been exchanging informally, Mr. President, on the work which we will seek to progress, even though we don't usually sit during the budget period. We will try and have at least one sitting, if not two, during the period to try to get through the bills that have already passed on the lower house, so we don't hold up the people's business without unduly stressing staff, because we know that during the period you usually use the opportunity for other activities within the administrative realm. So we'll work with you to make sure we find the best balance on that. But Mr. President, again, this is the start of a year, start of a legislative year, and there's a lot of work to be done. Although the last 3 months slowed things down because of Melissa, that will not be the pace going forward. So I want to recognize that there will be more work, there will be more bills, more debates, and I very much look forward to us having a successful legislative term. Thank you very much, Mr. President.
Thank you, Minister. Senator Scott Motley.
Mr. President, I like New Year's because they signal new beginnings. And I like this opening, ceremonial though it may be, of the new Parliament. But I thank you, Minister, for all the words that you have used and for also the informal conversation which we have had. I have responded to that by saying, this signals a new beginning. And I completely endorse all that you have said. It is well known that I cooperate as much as possible with the government in order to get the people's business done. That is a priority. Minister, I also acknowledge that we'll be sitting during the budget debate. And as unprecedented as that is, I believe that it is important, especially after listening to the Governor General's throne speech, because every single ministry, save and except yours, has legislation which they want tabled and passed. So we here on this side, and as you would imagine, especially the new senators, are eager to participate in this process. I think they need and desire every opportunity to learn how exactly the Senate functions. And as the legislative review chamber, I think that it is important that we demonstrate how we approach our work. So, Mr. President, I am looking forward, especially after hearing the minister, I'm looking forward to this new term. I hope that when everybody leaves here today, they will feel energized and also anticipate what will happen. And to colleagues on both sides, I will say, Jamaica deserves the very best that it can get. And if we all make an effort to demonstrate that in this particular house, we put Jamaica first, we can be part of the transformation of our nation. If it pleases you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Minister and Leader of Opposition Business. I have listened to both presentations. There is nothing that I can add, but to indicate that whatever it is required from the staff, from the clerk and her team, and myself as President to make myself available for sittings, we'll do so, and trust that moving forward we can advance the government's legislative agenda in a manner that is fair and apparently fair to the people of Jamaica. Thank you very much. Minister?
Thank you, Mr. President. It is not intended to do any further business today. I ask that the Senate be adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Members would have heard the question. Those in favor? This Honourable Senate now stands adjourned for a date to be fixed.
Clock rise up. It's Lottie, walk on. Me glad for see you, Roy. Although things never go on for you, America, me glad to see you there.
Yeah.
Lift your head high.
Yeah.
Stay out of trouble.
Yeah.
And you can have a fresh start back home.
All right, Mr. D. Thanks, you hear?
Let's all work together for a fresh start back home.
The following is brought to you by the Office of the Prime Minister.
Apply to the Heart NSTA Trust. Learn a new skill and expand your horizons. Your government has made it completely free to you.
A new story is being written for all Jamaicans. The Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation is on a mission to transform lives. From increasing access to potable water, providing secure homes for the most vulnerable, and helping you own a piece of the rock, we're revitalizing communities and preserving our environment. We're making an impact. See the difference. Feel the difference. Building a better Jamaica for you and me.
You can feel it. Make JC
Overtake and bring back everything.
Bask in the awesome Word of God and the life-changing experience of fellowship. Bask in the revival time, 8 a.m. on Sundays, right here on the People's Station.
You never put up a fight, no.
I'm so easy, me easy, cool and me calm. Love you, girl. Let me give you all. When me looking at your eyes, me see the possibilities. And me not gonna tell you lies and give you broken promises.
You not love the youth, you shoot them pan side. No respect for the roots, you shoot them aside.
Cause a long time we are rocky Tina down. Me say a long time we are skanky Tina down. In me blood,